Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Hier reading from the Satanjatrita, chapter LILA, chapter 12 and sloka 37. Oh, what happened here? Art.
The yoga art.
Very strange. Who is doing this? Okay. I know who is doing it. I have slokas up with papers of these pieces of slokas. And now I know where it is coming from. Out of the book. Above, there are.
Really?
Yeah, I can show you. It's coming from this book. Okay, anyhow. It's all over. It's not it's interesting. Okay, anyhow.
The class is online? Which
Yes, sur la chaîne de Ranapalish.
But that is chapter 12, it's not here. Chapter 12, 37. Otherwise, you give French also, is not a problem. It's only a very small text. You can read in French. It is not in English.
Okay. It's volume 3.
12.
13.
Yeah, then 12 is there. 12:37.
12.
Okay, there we go. Danda Suni Visvasahaila Paramadukita Suniya Prabhura Danda Acharya Harsita. Is it correct, Mieter?
Sorry, I'm trying to get the verse.
Danda Suni Visvasahaila Paramadukita Suniya Prabhura Danda Acharya Harsita.
Nana Shuni Vishwasahaila Paramadukita. Shuniya Prabhura Danda Aksha Harshita.
Danda Suni Visvasahaila Paramadukita Suniya Prabhura Danda Acharya Harsita.
Nana Shuni Vishwasahaila Paramadukita. Shuniya Prabhura Danda Aksha Harshita.
Sorry, which one are you reading?
12:37.
Ah, okay.
That is what he told yesterday.
Ah, okay.
Sloka 37.
Okay.
I don't know, he told that it.
Mm.
Was other sloka?
No, it was written 38. for today.
38. Okay, he
But
told.
I don't know, maybe there was some change. So.
I don't know, he made a little bit mess here with his course and with this. He told me.
No problem.
I remember 37. Okay. This was already done by somebody? 37?
I was not.
And yeah, I think that
It's
is the
okay.
correct one. Huh?
You can
Yeah.
do that.
Okay, woord voor woord. Danda,
Danda
punishment.
Punishment.
Suni,
Shuni
hearing.
Hearing.
Visvasa,
Vishwasa.
Kamalakant Visvasa.
Kamalakanta Vishwasa.
Haila,
Haila.
became.
Became.
Parama,
Parama.
very much.
Very much.
Dukita,
Dukita.
unhappy. Unhappy.
Unhappy.
Suniya,
Shuniya.
hearing.
Hearing.
Pabura,
Prabhura.
of Lord Sutaimahapu.
Lord Chaitanya.
Danda,
Danda.
punishment.
Punishment.
Acharya,
Acharya.
Sri Advaita Acharya Purush.
Advaita Acharya.
Harsita,
Harshita.
very much pleased.
Very much pleased.
Translation. When Kamalakant Visvasa heard about this punishment by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was very much unhappy, but when Advaita Prabhu heard about it, he was greatly pleased. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Samoham Sarvabhutesu Name Dvashyos Tina Priya. I envy no one, nor I am partial to anyone. I am equal to all. The Supreme Personality of Godhead being equal to everyone, no one can be his enemy, nor can anyone be his friend. Since everyone is a part or son of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord cannot partially regard someone as friend and someone as enemy. As an enemy. Thus, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu punished Kamalakant Visvasa by no longer allowing him to come in his presence, although the punishment was actually very hard on him, Sri Advaita Prabhu, understanding the inner meaning of such punishment, was happy because he appreciated that the Lord had actually favored Kamalakant Visvasa. Therefore, he was not at all unhappy. Devotees should always be happy with all the dealings of their master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A devotee may be put into difficulty or opulence, but he should accept both as gifts, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and jubilantly engage in the service of the Lord in all circumstances. Okay. Om Khyana Timandasya Kyananana Salakya Satsu Unmaitama Tasmai Sri Kurave Nama Narayana Maskityam Naram Safarnarotavam Devim Sarastim Patam Tatodama Udiret Van Deham Sri Kroos Yutakalamam Sikroon Vaisnavansam Sri Rupam Sakata Rakanatam Tadivam Satvaitam Sabaduta Parichaita Sri Krishna Chaitanya Vam Sri Radha Krishna Padansa Lalita Sri Visaki Vitamsa Nama Om Vishnu Bhadai Krishna Bhadai Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vikaswamini Namane Nama Om Vishnu Bhadai Krishna Bhadai Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Koro Vam Sarane Nevise Sunya Vadi Pasatya Desatarane Sai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Sadikora Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. It's very interesting in that sense that the pure devotee, like Advaita Acharya, he understood the inner meaning. And I want to come back on yesterday's class, and there were questions and answers were there. But the epistemology, what I was talking before about how to understand the knowledge we get from Prabhupada, and the hermeneutic approach to that, the theories of interpretation of Prabhupada teachings, is not understood in many ways, in many times. So how I can say that is that the answers and the question was based on what I think. What I think is completely not important what we are thinking. It is based on Shastra. So if Prabhupada, for example, we give an example and we want to put our vision on something, and we said Prabhupada said, this is not a proof, this is a praman, that is the fourth or fifth praman, what Prabhupada said. Everybody can take something what Prabhupada said. But most important praman is Shastra, what Prabhupada wrote in that connection. So the inner meaning, because Shastra Damam to Saksat Bhagavat Pranitam, Nafei Fidorisayana Pidefam. The Shastra, the religion, is established by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and where the knowledge is coming from the Saksat, from the body of Mahavishnu. So that's Shastra. So there is and by speaking and by preaching, it's not about what we are thinking or what we are feeling. This is not the basic. There is only Shastra authority if we speak from Shastra. So that's very, very important principle what we should understand. And here, because Advaita Acharya, also pure devotee, everything what he is speaking is Shastra. Everything what the pure representative of the Supreme Lord is speaking is Shastra. So that, and on that basis, we have to speak from the Vyasasana. It's very important that we not start to speak so many speculations out of the mind. It will give confusion to the people who are listening, and it will give a misrepresentation of Shastra in that sense. So that's very interesting that Advaita Acharya, he already understood the inner meaning. There is a very nice sloka in the Bhagavatam, Satyavratam, Satyaparam, and Trisatyam, and Satyasya Yonanim Nihitam Sasatya. Satyasya Satyam, Tri Satyam Netram, Satyatmakam Tvam Saranam Prapanam. It's a wonderful sloka. I have to say, I don't know exactly the meaning. It's a whole story, the meaning of the sloka. But it's wonderful. O Lord, you never deviate from your vow, which is always perfect. Because whatever you decide is perfectly correct and cannot be stopped by anyone. Being present in the three phases of the cosmic manifestation, creation, maintenance, and annihilation, you are the supreme truth. So that's Shastra. So Shastra is, for example, that what we were discussing yesterday, Varnashra Dharma should be established. That's what Prabhupada also instruction, is instruction. Because it is very, it's not even a big discussion is necessary, it's already clear. We see the history of ISKCON, so many fall downs, because they were not putting the separation, connecting, and Prabhupada told very clearly, Brahmacharya Sannyas too much connecting with women. That's all problems of all the, in ISKCON, all the problems are coming to this. So it's nothing complex, it's very clear. So it's very clear what Krishna has given to us in that sense, that this is a principle. There are so many slokas also connected. A father should not even sit with his sister, with his mother, or with his daughter on the same seat. It's clear. And we can see this, that by not following these principles, what is given by Shastra, by not the epistemology we are following, then we can see all the problems starting in spiritual life, and Advaita Acharya understands the inner meaning. So the Acharyas understand the inner meaning, what Krishna is speaking through the Vedas. For that reason, they want that it becomes established in the movement, because it is, and otherwise what it will be Sahajaism. Everybody is a pure devotee, and in the meantime we don't follow any regulations or Shastra. We actually, in the reality, for Grahasthas also they should not mix with women. That is Grahastha. Grahastha actually in reality is not even mixing with his wife in house. That is actually Grahastha's room. You have a separate room in the house, and there they have association, but they go to the different bedroom, they have a bit different bedroom, and they are not associating. So that is Grahastha. So this principle from Varnashram Dharma, separation is for the Grahasthas, for Brahmachari, for all the ashrams in that connection. Only the Grahastha is allowed to have this association. So that's a very, very important principle in that connection. And how did should be understood. We should get the guidance in that connection from the spiritual master. The spiritual master is for this. It's very, very interesting. We also have the same principle that is with Varnashram Dharma, Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha is a very important principle. It's not something what Prabhupada spoke. And those devotees, sannyasis, devotees who understand the inner meaning, what Prabhupada actually was emphasizing, why Prabhupada was telling this, understand that this is because if a Grahastha stays in the Grahastha ashram and stays attached to the family, they will not go back to Godhead. It's imagination, even if the family members are devotees, because it's attachment on the body. It's on attachment on the body. So material attachment. So that will bring them not back to Godhead. So the principle of vanaprastha is specially meant that to prepare at the end of life, the whole life was entanglement in the family, business, working very, very hard to maintain the family, and at the end there should come to the point that there will completely surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and completely connecting with the Supreme Truth, Satyavratam. Indeed, unless one is completely truthful, one cannot achieve your favor. That is very, very important. So, completely truthful means we are not speaking from the mind. We are not speaking from the mind because the mind, the material mind, is untruth. We cannot see the things as it is, as on the spiritual platform. So everything what we are thinking, I think, I feel, it's broken. So as devotees, we should come out of this platform, that we speak from our mind. We speak what we are reading, we speak what we are hearing from the spiritual master. And above this is what Prabhupada wrote, not what Prabhupada said. That is the fifth pranam, it's the fifth proof. So first because Prabhupada is in the books is not going from the Shastra. For example, we are giving example from Prabhupada said like this, but in another conversation Prabhupada said the other thing. For example, he went with Srutakirti and he said to Srutakirti, Prabhu, don't go with Mataji in the kitchen. That is what he told. You will fall down. So he said in other situation he said this, and in other situation he said that, time, place and circumstances. So you cannot put what Prabhupada said as the pranam, the highest pranam. It's not possible. That will be Adkansastra. But in some circumstances, in some emergent situation, Prabhupada gave some other instruction against Shastra, but by following that, he will be empowered. He called the empowerment from Prabhupada. But Prabhupada did not say that it was for everybody like this. Yeah, everybody can do like this. No, he said this specific instruction to this disciple. So it's very important if we don't understand the inner meaning, we should go to the persons who understand the inner meaning of what Shastra is telling or what the Guru is telling in that connection. That is actually Sadhu Sangha. Sadhu Sangha, that we try to imbibe the mood of the spiritual master, of the founder Acharya. Indeed, unless one is completely truthful, one cannot achieve your favor, which therefore cannot be achieved by hypocrites. That's interesting. So you are the active principle, the real truth, in all the ingredients of creation, and therefore you are known as Antaryami, the inner voice, the Paramatma. You are equal to everyone. That is also in the sloka, equal to everyone. For all time, you are the beginning of all truths. Therefore, offering our obeisances, we surrender into you. Kindly give us your protection, Karbastuti, by the demigods. You can actually see that you can get so much from the sloka, and if you read this purport also of Prabhupada, this wonderful explanation by which we can actually enter in the deeper understanding of this material world. We can enter in the deeper understanding of our anattas, and we can, by understanding the slokas, we can actually see how our mind, how our intelligence and material intelligence is a big anartha in spiritual life. For that reason, it's and very important that we start to understand para befastafat about the yata yafan lik sa atmatat vat yafat kriyastafat about the yato kamat makan yang kamat makan saria bandas bandana lost words a mix up. And so those who are not inquiring about the absolute truths, about the questions of life, their intelligence is colored by karma. And by this, they are entangled in food activities, and they cannot see the things as it is. For that reason, you can see that, and people, the proof of the Vedas that it is real. That's Prabhupada told it in one conversation. So what is the proof? That is those who are not following the Vedas, they are living a sinful life. And we can also that apply even in the devotees or materialistic devotees who are not taking the guidance of the Shastra. They are start to go in the mood of Sahatyaism. Some rules is not important, or you hear nowadays you hear Prabhupada, the minimizing of Prabhupada, that Prabhupada was a Megadi, a gentleman, and some material instructions, and we don't have to take, but his spiritual instructions we are taking. So where that is coming from, that is very interesting. So that happens if we want to put our ideas, our plans, our things in the center. So that we start to minimize the teachings, we start to minimize the instructions of the spiritual master, and by this we are back where we are coming from. We are coming back on the platform of material kind of consciousness. So we are not actually interested in what is the reality in this material world. But then we are coming on the platform of hypocrisy. Because Prabhupada is very, the first principle of Prabhupada is that to establish the epistemology of Prabhupada is to establish Prabhupada as a Mahapurusha. In Prabhupada's activities, all his words, there is not one mistake. Hij zei het voor de profetie. And that is very interesting, that one time with, what is his name? Servant of Prabhupada, not Srutakirti, but Shyamasundar. So he was writing one offering of Prabhupada in the Vyasa Puja, and was very interesting. So he was telling that, establishing that he did not see any mistake Prabhupada made. And even that it sometimes looked that it was a mistake, Krishna let Prabhupada make this mistake, that to make it to let it make in the correct way later. That's very interesting. So that a material person or somebody who sees, oh, Prabhupada made a mistake, he like this, or sometimes you can see that, and you can see some material activity, or some the spirit, as an example, the spiritual master goes in the wine shop, and we can see externally we can see, oh, what is he doing in the wine shop, and we can make so many things up of the spiritual master. But he went there, bona fide spiritual master goes there to preach or to have some other activity. to get some donation or whatever. So, but with Prabhupada also, with Prabhupada, there is no mistake. He is Aparusheya, like the Vedas. The Vedas don't have any mistake. It can look that contradictory, that cow dung is pure, and we can start to analyze it, etc., etc. And the interesting thing is that there was experiments on cow dung, and they came to the conclusion it's antiseptic, everything is there. But in material mind, material consciousness, we cannot comprehend this contradictory statement of the Vedas, of Prabhupada. So that is very, very important that we, for followers of Prabhupada, is to put Prabhupada on this platform, on the absolute platform, and not on the relative platform. It's very essential to get actually the same mercy of Advaita Acharya to understand the inner meaning, to understand the inner meaning of what Prabhupada is speaking, what the spiritual master is speaking. It can look sometimes contradictory, but it depends on faith. Faith is so much important, and dat tenu kan posumak semanan bujana jeta de kitam fi pakam vit fak fi pabo fi tudas nangste yifeta ti padasa yabak. That's, and the devotee, he is waiting for the mercy of the Supreme Lord, even that he is so much suffering. He is surrendering his mind, words, and activities to the Supreme Lord because he has full faith that ultimately the mercy will come. This faith is very, very essential in that connection. And we can get, everybody can make offenses to the holy name, for example. To the holy name, or offenses to the devotees, and we do our service and we get so many obstacles. I had a nice example also with book distribution. And book distribution, sometimes there are periods that no books are going. And that is, for some devotees, actually, it is a reason to stop the service. You can see that many times, book distribution 4 or 5 years, and they change service. Why? Because Krishna started to give taste. For 4 or 5 years, they were distributing in ecstasy 50 books daily, 100 books daily, and ecstasy, so such a wonderful service. But then Krishna's test is coming. Krishna is closing the tap, and they don't distribute any book. And then we are coming and can actually see how faithful he was. Because then you see many times what happens, and they start to have, they don't say straightly, but they get all kinds of excuses to stop the service, or they're sick or whatever. They have, maybe even by the mind, the body really becomes sick. So, because they lose the faith. They don't have actually established the pure faith. But the pure devotee who has established the relationship with the Supreme Lord, and he has the full faith, he understands that it is Krishna's mercy. He sees in the heart, I was so much attached to the results, and now Krishna is showing me this, and he is thanking the Supreme Lord for the purification and out of the heart. And by doing this, the devotee is actually overcoming the test, Krishna's test, and Krishna will open the tap again, and he can start to distribute again. It's always a temporary thing, and that can be with so many things. And we can see that this, and what was his name? It was a Brahmana, is it Lila? Kashmir, and then Kashmir. And he was very elevated Brahmana, and he was champion in defeating the scholars. So in that time you had the system, that's a very nice system. For example, you defeat somebody in discussion based on Shastra, the other surrenders. Now we don't see anything. You you defeat somebody in discussion, and they come all up with some speculations. They don't accept defeat. You can see that with Neophyte Adventists. We can see it also with Christians. I stopped to try to do a big discussion with Christians, because the one time I was nicely defeating every point he gave, and then at the end he was telling, you see, it's Satan, such a perfect knowledge you have. It is really, that does not make any sense. There is no, they don't accept anything, then it is coming from Satan, if you know it. So no, so that is the whole point from this, and how it works. So, but how we can come actually to the real faith, the pure faith, if we listen to the Shastra in this humble composition dat hij nu kan maakt that you don't understand the helplessness Sanatana Goswami had, and Rupa Goswami. They went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they were so scholarly. And what they told to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, sorry, we don't know anything. We don't know who we are, but still they had so much material knowledge, so much understanding, but this humility that they accepted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this kind of consciousness. I don't know anything. Please tell us who we are, what is the purpose of life, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this kind of attitude, and to take the answer from the Guru in full faith, that is very, very important. And with every aspect in spiritual life, everybody will get tests, big tests. So this scholar who wanted to discuss with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu what happened with him, somehow or other he was reciting 100 glorifications of the Kanga, like a blow, how it was explained, like a blowing wind or something, like the wind. It was extraordinary. And then he was expecting that, because the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very humble, he said, you are such a great person, I'm only a child, and in this kind of Sanskrit approach, of this approach of Sanskrit. And then he was asking Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is it possible to mention something? There are some mistakes, and he was very proud. Mistakes? How you can say mistakes? Everything is perfect. It's dictated by Saraswati. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I am Shrutidhara. Somehow other, by the mercy of the Supreme Lord, I am Shrutidhara. So I heard others speaking about all this deep understanding of Sanskrit and faults and Vipalamba, but so many things are there. So on the basis of that I can speak. So then he spoke, and he started to point, he remembered the sloka and started to explain everything. And then it came about, and then he came to the position that he lost also faith. So he lost faith. He was thinking, what happened? Saraswati has cheated me. I am defeated by a small child here. Mm-hmm. And then in the night he's asking Saraswati about this, what happened, and then Saraswati is telling to this champion of scholarship, yes, you are dealing with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so you have to surrender. In that sense. So all these problems in spiritual life, so-called problems, is actually to bring us to this states, to bring us from the state that we don't depend on the material mind, that we don't have so much faith in our understanding how our imperfect senses are giving us the Shastric knowledge, how our imperfect intelligence is working, but that we start to take with full faith what the spiritual master is telling, what Prabhupada is telling. We have to establish Varnashram Dharma, because there are so many fall downs, because they are too much connecting men and women. So that is one instruction, but there are so many instructions what we should take in our spiritual life, by which we can actually make rapid advancement in that connection. So that is a very, very important kind of understanding, and that is also the state, this pure faith, that we can overcome the tests, that we, for example, we lose taste in chanting the holy name. It can happen by our offenses. We start to lose the taste of the holy name. So what to do? So what is the remedy for that? Prabhupada and the Acharyas are telling that there is only one remedy, and that is more chanting. We have to chant more. So it can sound very horrible that but it is the gateway to get actually the connection and the mercy of the holy name. We chant more. We chant more, and by doing this, the taste will come back. It can be a hard endeavor, it can be difficult, but the instruction is there, and by following this instruction, the empowerment will be there ultimately. And that is how spiritual life is working. And once we have we don't understand the inner meaning from some situation, or we don't understand the inner meaning what Krishna wants to teach us, then we go to the Spirit Master. We ask the direction, which direction we have to go to in spiritual life, and which books we can approach, and what kind of we can ask also about our sadhu sangha, our sadhu sangha. And then what is coming? Then that is. It will become, for example, you have a misunderstanding or not much faith in the place you are. So you can ask the Spirit Master about this, and what he is telling, the answer, that will become Kuru Prasad Des. That will become the designated place for your spiritual life. Or he said, you stay on the place, or he said, according the situation, you go to other place, then it becomes actually the Kuru Prasad Des, the mercy. Kuru has given the mercy by giving you the place of surrendering, but giving you the place of where you have to practice your spiritual life. So by coming back to the epistemology, to understand and the inner meaning of what the Acharya has given to us, this kind of an approach is very much necessary, that we have this prayer mood. We have this prayer mood in the heart, that we start to pray to the mercy. And so then we come slowly. We are approaching the Nista platform, and by the Nista platform, slowly we get this and things revealed. We get things revealed in the heart. It's very interesting. It's also one example is there that actually I think almost the same slogan devotees were reciting. What was 27? Yes, that is interesting, and because I remember this in Amsterdam, and some other I wanted to go to India for spiritual life, because it was difficult. But the situation was very, very interesting, because all the senior devotees at that moment, they were telling actually this, Konitai has given you this place and these difficulties of Krishna's mercy, and it's very ungrateful that you want to go from this place. And I asked some senior brahmachari about this, and he gave his vision. He said, yes, you should go. And by this, I had to go to the GBC. The GBC was in Radhadesh, and he wanted to stop me from the idea to go to India. But somehow other, he got the understanding when I came there that I was very determined, and then I changed the place and went to India. So, but the whole point is that we should do this through actually the senior devotees, and by this we will get the Krishna's mercy. The Krishna is dictating us actually the road where to go, and for that reason we should be very, very determined. Determination is very, very important. That it cannot be a reason in spiritual life that, okay, because everybody is going this way, I also have to go to this way. No, because Anda Kupam. So we are speaking about, and if they go against Shastra, then they are falling in a dark well. So we should use by illuminated consciousness, by illuminated and approach, by getting guidance from senior devotees, and we look which side we have to go. And then our spiritual life will become and illuminated. We will reach the transcendental platform. The funny thing actually from Amsterdam, it was not actually funny, that 3 years later the whole ashram collapsed. The whole temple collapsed. There was no temple anymore in Amsterdam. And all the devotees from there, they left ISKCON, or they left the Brahmachari ashram, and they are here and there. I don't know even where they are now. So that was the perfect instruction from this Brahmachari that I was following, because I don't know what had been the situation with my own spiritual life at that moment. So that is many times actually, that is how spiritual life is working, how we can come out of the difficulties, or so-called difficulty in spiritual life. We reveal the mind to advanced devotees. Mm-hmm. And that's also one of the instructions of Rupa Goswami in the Nectar of Instruction. Mm-hmm. That by doing this, what will happen? Krishna is very, very pleased, because he is completely truthful. We were reading this. But Krishna is completely truthful, and if we approach this platform to be truthful, to note of secrets in the hearts. So many times that is, and with spiritual masters or Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, it's also mentioned it in the lectures, that why this disciple was not telling me to me that he was facing this difficulty. Why like this? And by this he got so many more difficulties. By this, being this truthful, especially the spiritual master, and he should be considered as our best friend. We can reveal anything, whatever the problem is in material life or in spiritual life, and by opening our mind, by opening the problem to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of the advanced devotee or of the spiritual master, Krishna will give the right direction, will give the right instruction by which we can come out of it. So that is very, very important to understand. We can see that with Prabhupada. Prabhupada was given the opportunity to become a president of some math in India. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj could understand and instructed, no, don't engage Abhay Saran in anything what you're doing. He will find his way. And that was perfect. It was perfect. By following this Prabhupada, everything became ultimately manifested. It became manifested in spiritual life. So for that reason, it's important that we actually understand Shastra. So all the problems in a movement, what we are seeing, is by not reading enough Srila Prabhupada books. And there was one enquête or some investigation, and was asked to many senior devotees many times they read Prabhupada books, and it was really astonishing that and the majority did read. Maybe I'm now a little bit too much over enthusiastic. Maybe it was worse actually, but and the majority said one time, and then some percentage said 2 times. I read all the Prabhupada books, and very small portion said 3 times. 3 times. But it's also mentioned that Brahma was reading the Vedas 3 times. That is 3 times is actually the basic of reading Prabhupada books, all Prabhupada books. It's not that much. Actually, it will be very good and we did, the temple president in Salem was doing this one time. He took 10 devotees from the temple, and he said, okay, for 1 week, and they went to other place. They rented some house, and he locked the door and said, for 1 week, we will be inside and read Prabhupada books for 12 hours daily.
Oh.
So, and in the beginning it was very difficult, devotees were telling, 12 hours reading Prabhupada books. But then it became very ecstatic, and some devotees even were skipping the breakfast. They were reading, and it became transcendental kind of consciousness is established. It's really transcendental kind of activity. And because the impurities in the mind, it will give sleep, it will give, and you have better things to do. Now I have to take prasadam, now I have to do this. Always better things are there, but by surrendering to this, Krishna will give the taste. He will give this attraction. He will give this rati, the rati that we actually, Srimad Bhakta Purana Amalam Yat Vaishnava Priyam, that there is the highest attraction, the highest scripture for Vaishnavas is the Srimad Bhakta Puranam. It's such a connection is there, and we can see that with the Acharyas. Roinananda Prabhu gave very nice example in the class about Narottam Das Thakur. How ecstatic he was by Bhaktan, and Rasikananda is another example, that every time that he was touching the Srimad Bhagavatam, that was already on a small child, they could make choice in India. You make children, you give some money is there, and they put the Bhagavatam, and there is some other thing. I forgot the third thing. Somebody knows? There's some ritual. Money they put, and the Bhagavatam, and there is some other thing. I think Matteo thing. And where the child is going to, that will be his attraction in this life. So Rasikananda was such a personality. He went, maybe they do this 1 year old or something, 1 year old. He went to the Bhagavatam, embraced the Bhagavatam, and tears and ecstatic symptoms started to manifest. So that is the natural position. So that is also in the sloka what is mentioned here in 9:29, somehow, that Krishna is not partial to anyone, for enemy and friends. And in the purport, Prabhupada is writing in this connection that nobody can blame that Krishna is partial to his devotee, because that's natural. It's natural that the father, he has children, but he has always will have some chosen one. There is always somehow, it's natural, the father has some more attraction for one child, so you cannot accuse the child of the father that he is partial. Dat is partial, no. He is equal to everyone. Dat is natural from the heart, and the Supreme Lord is in that connection the same. And this natural inclination, what the Supreme Lord has, the pure devotee also has in the heart. Natural inclination is to see the Srimad Bhagavatam, automatically Krishna is there in the mind. Automatically Krishna is in the mind. It's the same that in Vrindavan, and the Yasoda is always anxious when Krishna is coming back. It's back mentioned in the nectar of devotion. This example, and then she's sending a gopi to. There is one house and there is a high top, and you can see it far away. And this gopi goes to the top of this house, and she's looking and she sees the cloud of dust. She's coming up. So she understands that Krishna and the Gopas are approaching. And then she goes to Yasoda, and Yasoda, her anxiety is diminished because the separation is so much intense in the heart of Yasoda that she cannot tolerate. So then by understanding that he is approaching, she is satisfied in that connection. So that is this natural kind of connection with Krishna in the form of the Srimad Bhagavatam, with Krishna in the form of the holy name, that will become established if we get this anxiety. We should really get this anxiety for the chanting of the holy name in the morning, and we make arrangements in that sense. We everything. So we take care in the evening not to take too much prasadam, because then my japa will be in tamakun. So this anxiety is there, this analysis, this preparation. Chanting don't start after Mangal Arati or something. Chanting starts already the day before. The contemplation of this, and that is with everything in spiritual life. If we go to the altar, it's not the point that we come out of bed and we take shower and we walk on the altar. No, before we have to prepare, we have to chant 3-4 rounds, prepare the mind in Krishna consciousness, and then we are approaching the Supreme Lord in that sense and do the service of the Supreme Lord. To the kitchen, the same. Very important. It's not that somebody is going like this to the kitchen, waking, and he goes to the kitchen. No, it's whole preparation. The whole mind should be prepared. The whole mind, somehow chanting should be there before. Some reading can be there before, and then the mind is connected with Krishna consciousness, and then the cook is going in the kitchen with us and service to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And because that is the whole point of our service, and every service should be approached like this. There should be a contemplation, how we can do it in a better way, how we can please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And by doing this, we will come to the same kind of consciousness that ACHARYA had. He could understand the inner meaning. Then what will happen? There is some situation, we understand Krishna is pushing me to this kind of thing, and become blissful, because then the suffering becomes actually the bliss, because you understand that Krishna is actually taking care of you. He is very personal, he's taking care for your spiritual life, he's dictating you, etc., etc. So that is wonderful that we have such acharyas, like Advaita Acharya, but we should understand we can also come to this platform. It is not something, only some theory. By praying, by connection, with the instructions, by dedication, we can also get really this kind of consciousness and come slowly to the Bhav platform. So that is, it's exactly on time. Maybe somebody has one question about it? Yes.
I was late, so maybe you mentioned, but today as its disappearance of Ishvarapuri. Did you?
Oh, Ishvarapuri. Yeah, actually that whole class is separate in that sense, but yeah, one interesting thing what is connected with Advaita Acharya is that they were disciples of Madhavendra Puri, Ishvara and Advaita Acharya, and this was really a big reason for the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to always approach Advaita Acharya as senior devotee, as his guru. So that is very, very interesting how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu shows how the relationship is with the guru, how the relationship is with the disciples of the guru, and that's very, very important. As disciples, for example, it came in mind that I was in Colombia and Mahavishnu came there, but there is some etiquette, so he's on the standard of our spiritual master. So the standard is to get the meaning, to get the mercy, and to become purified, we do dandavats. It's really crazy. They don't do even obeisances to this mercy, but that's really crazy. But actually, dandavats will be there. So how all these dealings is with Guru and with his the god brothers of the Guru, we should really get the deep understanding how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dealing with this connection, because that is the spiritual kind of relation, spiritual kind of relation, in the same way that Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Maharaj was approaching Bhaktivinoda Thakur, never as and on the material platform. He was always taking the association as guru. He took the association of Bhaktivinoda Thakur as guru, and they have this kind of relationship. So I think that it is very important that we try to understand what kind of relationship we have with guru, because sometimes you see that, I heard this one time, that the reason that they took a guru is that he is so normal. That was the reason, and I heard one time you read this guru, he is so normal, he is not, I don't feel that he is on a higher standard than me. He's always approaching me in a friendly mood and as friend. But this is really not the right understanding on how we should approach the guru. The guru, and Bhakti Vikas Maharaj gave, I told this last time, very nice class about mind the cap, because we were on the tram and there is always a cap there. And they say, mind the cap. And Bhakti Vikas Maharaj also gave a lecture on this, mind the cap. He heard this on the station. And he said, yes, we should mind the gap between the disciple and the spiritual master. You should always keep this in mind, that there is a difference, and that he is the embodiment of the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And I can only get this in the descending approach. In the descending approach, it's coming from up. The mercy is coming from up. It's not the ascending process. That I go up and take the mercy. No, it is the mercy comes down, and the mercy of this is in the form of hearing. So that is the mercy the spiritual master is giving, and we can see that by Mahaprabhu Ishvarapuri, how the relationship was based on this, on the principle of Skruti. The Skruti, the relationship was based, and that is very important to apply this in our spiritual life, how we actually can get the connection with the spiritual world, with the spiritual associate, with the spiritual master, in that connection. So there's a small thing I can say, but there are so many lilas, etc., also connected. It is from Puri. But yeah, that can be maybe it's good to mention in the morning that somebody can prepare also part of this in the class. Yeah, so that is very, so many great days we have, ultimately, to connect spiritual consciousness. Srila Prabhupada ki,
Jai.
Sri Chaitanya Santarita ki.
Jai.
Prabhu ki.
Yeah.